Here's my review of The Flash. This movie is actually pretty good. I've heard some people saying that it was terrible. I understand that there was a lot of hype around this movie, so some people may be disappointed, but there's still a lot of lovely things in here. I mean, there's still a lot to like. It's still pretty fun. Basically, the general synopsis of this movie is Barry goes back in time to save his mother, but in doing so, he causes a butterfly effect, where Michael Keaton is Batman and Superman is Supergirl and General Zod is taking over the world. And it's quite a bit of fun. I thought there was just a lot to like here. First things first, there's a cool action scene at the beginning of the movie where like there's these criminals who are about to like drop this deadly chemical that would like kill all of Gotham. So there's a pretty fun action scene at the beginning. And it's cool getting to see Ben Affleck's Batman one last time. He was still really cool. He was kind of always like one of the things that I still really liked about the DCEU, even though I wasn't really ever that interested in it. I thought his Batman was always pretty cool. So you got a really cool scene with that. But then the main story kicks off when Barry goes back in time. He goes back in time to stop his mother, but in doing so, it kind of causes a ripple effect. Then he finds the other Barry, and then they both go find Batman to fix everything. And in this version, it is a Michael Keaton. And it was really cool seeing Michael Keaton again. I mean, like those movies, those movies, Batman was kind of crazy, and he kind of still has that same energy with it. And he's just a lot of fun. You get a lot of his iconic quotes like, "You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts." Even though it doesn't really make sense within the context of this movie, it was still just like, he said it. But it was still kind of cool to see. And I really like the action with him. Like, because, like, in the Tim Burton movies, there wasn't, like, as much, I guess, of him fighting. It was more just kind of him, like, punching in a certain way where he couldn't really do that many flips. But, you know, with, like, modern CGI, he could do a lot more. And it was still really fun to see. And Michael Keaton is just a very charming actor, so he was really fun to see. But the main plot of this is they're going to go set free Supergirl, who they actually thought was Superman, but it turns out to be Supergirl, Superman's cousin. In this universe, Superman is dead. And it was really cool. You get a really great action scene, like where Kara is stopping a bullet and saving Michael Keaton Batman. That was a really cool thing to see. And like I said, there's still a lot to like about this movie, even if it wasn't as good as people might have been hyping it up to be. And I will say, like, there are a lot of really great emotional moments, especially between the two Barrys. I thought there was a really cool scene where when older Barry tried to get his powers back because when they traveled back in time, he didn't have his powers. There was a really cool scene where he had to get electrocuted, so Supergirl flew him up into the sky to get struck by lightning. That was really cool to see. And there was just a lot of fun stuff to see in this movie. Like, I guess that could be a bad thing, because, like, a lot of it is, like, that's really cool to look at, but maybe there's not enough depth to it, and maybe that's where some people might find a problem. But if we're going to give away some, like, massive spoilers right here, is, like, some of my main problems is, it feels like there's a lot of cool stuff in this movie, but then it's just kind of gone. Like, Supergirl dies, Michael Keaton dies, and it's like, why? You brought them back. Maybe at least have them stay in their own universe. It just feels like kind of just like a punch in the face to the audience. It was just really annoying to see. But I will say the ending battle was pretty cool, but it wasn't as good as the rest of the movie. And okay, although it was stupid, when they went and saw like the little like Nexus like universe balls, like that was pretty cool. I don't care what anyone says. Seeing Nicolas Cage Superman was awesome. I love Nicolas Cage, so maybe that's just why. It was cool to see it. I don't care what anyone says. And seeing him fight the giant spider like he was originally supposed to do in the Tim Burton Superman movie, I don't care. That was cool to see. So yeah, overall, I did enjoy the movie. I thought that there was a lot of stuff to like here, even if it's not as good as it was maybe hyped up to be. Like, at the end, it's kind of just like a big, like, what? Where, like, obviously Barry does do the right thing. He makes sure that he goes back in time, because at the beginning, he, like, just had to move a tomato jar, and then he just puts it back. It's a whole butterfly effect. So, yes, his mother does end up dying. His father does end up getting arrested, like, in the original timeline. But it was still, like, a sweet story to see. I thought it was still fun. Also, why is George Clooney in this? It's just so weird. They switch up the timeline, so now in this universe, George Clooney is Batman, which he played back in the 90s. And it's like, well, you know that this universe isn't really going anywhere, so we're not going to see George Clooney again. It kind of just feels like a joke, and it wasn't really meant to actually be there. I don't think it was. I think originally it was supposed to be, like, put everything kind of how straightforward to fix the DCEU. But then since they're rebooting it, it doesn't matter. Like, you're not going to see George Clooney Batman again. Even though if it would be cool, maybe in a multiverse movie one day, but it just seemed kind of like, what? But yeah, overall, I enjoyed this movie. There's a lot to like. Like, it can be really funny. The action can be cool, even if the CGI can be pretty bad. And part of me, I think, was just carried by Michael Keaton. I really liked those two Burton Batman films. They're just so over the top and crazy, and Michael Keaton's Batman is just really weird. Like, he's just kind of a psycho, so he's just really fun to watch. But overall, I enjoyed the movie. But yes, it was not as good as it was maybe hyped up to be, but overall, I thought it was solid.